Deputy of Common Sense, and your vampire extraordinaire. Today's video will be a sad one for me, as I used to watch Charmed as a wee vampire. Paige was my second favorite character, right behind Phoebe, and that's why it makes me so sad to see the path that her actress has taken. Yep, you guessed it, we're talking about Rose McGowan. I've got my anti-stupid helmet and my scotch. Let's do this.
The thing we should do with people who create art that have done terrible things. Well, if you found out the head of Johnson & Johnson was a serial rapist that everybody at Johnson & Johnson knew, one way or another, would you still buy that baby powder?
The key word here is art, not artist. And what if I found out that Jeremy Corbyn was going all Jack the Bloody Ripper on prostitutes, or that Angela Merkel had a sex dungeon full of underage boys? That's the thing about what ifs. You can apply them to anyone or anything, and it still won't matter. This isn't a what if though. I just have a problem with that particular phrase. What S.C. Johnson did was beyond the pale monstrous. Nobody is denying that. But your claim that the entire company knew about it is laughably absurd. Do you have any idea how big a company like that is? It is statistically impossible for everyone at the company to know and not one of them to say anything. And so what if they didn't? They have families to provide for. And don't you think they would have been fired for exposing their CEO as a bloody rapist? Believe it or not, whistleblowing is frowned upon at most companies. I know, shocker, right? I don't think you know how it works in working class America. Of course not. You've never been in working class America. How could you possibly know? Well, here's how it works. It's every man, woman, or gender-neutral attack helicopter for themselves. I'm a bloody Brit, and even I know that. And yes, I would still buy the baby powder. I'll explain why in a bit.
Sorry your heroes are going away. Wah. There are more important things to do, okay? Sorry, bummer for you. Wah. The construct of society, the raping and killing of women. There's a channel called ID. It's devoted to 24 hours a day of sexualizing murder victims. Okay? Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it. That's my message. Just knock it off. Wah, you don't get to like Woody Allen. Oh, what a big, huge loss for you. I'm sure that compares to the girl who's just been raped that now feels like she wants to hang herself from her balcony, right? Because that really balances out. So when people bitch about that, sorry, bummer for you. You don't watch Birth of a Nation, do you? Probably not, because you know it's racist. So in time, these people will be looked at like that. My job and others' jobs at work in kind of what I'm doing is to put an asterisk next to these assholes' names for all time. And if people want to cry about not getting to like somebody they liked when they're kids, Well, get a fucking bigger problem. It's not that complicated, people. It's really not. It's really not. It's easy. Read a different book. That's it.
I don't give a shit about Woody Allen, but I do like the Jeepers Creepers movies, as well as the band's Lost Prophets and Brand New. I also like the writing of H.P. Lovecraft. I feel bad for the victims of rape, sexual assault, and racism, or whatever, but that doesn't affect the art at all. And that's because I can separate the art from the artist, unlike you. You are a moral absolutist. It doesn't matter how much good someone has done. All that matters is they did something bad, or in some speak, something problematic, and they should be condemned for it. Just look at Winston Churchill, the greatest man in British history. It doesn't matter that he fought actual Nazis, something you know nothing about. Yes, the Nazis, the real white supremacists, who nearly took over the fucking world. This man stood defiantly and said, never, never, never give up. Here's what he tells the victims of the crimes you mentioned. If you're going through hell, keep going. He fought in 3 wars, and your only argument against him is a few quotes and an unverified claim that he killed some brown people. And seeing as 1943 Britain was still recovering from World War II, I don't think he could have done much for India anyway. Now let's talk about H.P. Lovecraft. Lovecraft was blatantly racist. Nobody's denying that. But he also revolutionized the horror genre, and without him, you wouldn't have the most progressive horror writer in history. Stephen King was influenced by many things and many people, and unfortunately for you, Lovecraft was one of them. He wouldn't be the same person without Lovecraft's influence. Our final example is John Lennon. He was an abusive husband and a neglectful parent. But does that invalidate the good he did with the message of his music? No, it bloody well doesn't. Artists are people, you dozy cow. They are not saints. They are not divine. They are ordinary people, just like you, and they sometimes do terrible things. That's human nature. But it doesn't invalidate the good they did. I don't care how much you preach or guilt trip, I will always separate the art from the artist. And people actually do watch Birth of a Nation. It's called a U.S. college film course. I just looked up 5 schools that have it on their curriculum. It took 2 minutes. But I won't mention which ones so they don't get attacked by Antifa. You know, Antifa? The people who forcibly suppress opposition and criticism while trying to create a system where people of certain races or genders are given higher status than those of another race or gender? I think there's a word for that. What was it? Oh, I remember. Fascism. Who else uses fascism? Oh yeah, the Nazis. So Antifa are Nazis. Come at me, bro.
I have so many people fighting me because they want to stay in the system. The system benefits a 0.0001%. My ultimate goal is smashing the 99 and the 1%. That's what I'm here for. And I'm here to do that through thought and raising women up. And yes, in Children of God, the cult I was born into, and again, it's someone's like, oh, they make a big deal of the cult. I'm like, I would be talking about Ohio if that happened to be my life. That just was not. But that's a cult too. And I think that's the thing. They're like, oh, it's so weird how you grew up. And I think it's weird how you live. And I think it's tragic. Because by 10%, because there's a lot of free minds, they're out there for sure, but we have to be vigilant. What if those 10% of the world that you look at as the weirdos and the fringe people, what if it's you guys? You know, like just like how African Americans have been saying, I remember hearing about it, reading about it when I was 13. You know, that they get killed when they get pulled over by cops. And that would be like us saying, maybe, because someone said that to me in Germany recently. I said, this is like kind of what a woman experiences. And he said, maybe, waving his hands. I thought, we have like a trillion PhDs in being a woman. Why? Because we're in our skin.
Well, that's about enough light for me for one day. Let me check the time. Yeah, it's about that time.
Okay, considering you have $6 million, why not start your war against the 1% by donating $5 million of those dollars to help those racial minorities and sexual abuse victims you care so much about? But you won't. It's important to you unless you have to give up your $200,000 car or your $1 million mansion with the pool and the built-in restaurant. You don't care about helping people. You only care about appearing to help people. Because the idea of helping people makes you feel good, but actually helping people means hard work, and it means that you have to give up your life of luxury. And that's way too hard for a poor, rich actress. So you make your videos, you do your interviews, show up at your events, and make your big speeches with your fancy words, but that's all they are. Words, just empty words. You aren't willing to put in any real effort, because real effort means sacrificing your life of leisure, and you won't do that because you like having lots of money. You like having a fancy car and a huge house. You like being one of the elite, but you also feel hollow. You feel empty. You try to fill your heart with material things, but at the end of the day, you still have a void inside you. Well, here's some free advice. No matter how many things you buy, that void will only continue to grow. You need to fill that void with people, not things. That's how you fill the void. And if you want my advice for a decent, US-based charity to donate to, then as a mentally ill person, I recommend Mental Health America, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the Brain and Behavior Research Foundation. All of these are verified charities that will help mentally ill people. You want to fill the void and actually help people? Here's your chance.
And you know what's sad is because when you get sold as an idea, the other side thinks that's what you are. So everybody's responding to us primarily as an idea that's sold to them through imagery. You know, Adam Sandler movies where you have Salma Hayek, Jessica Biel, Kate Beckinsale, these accomplished women with Adam Sandler, a slovenly slob whose shtick is wearing dirty pants and basically having a 2.2 IQ.
What? 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 What?
You are not oppressed. I'm not saying women aren't oppressed, although they really aren't. I'm saying you aren't oppressed. And neither are Jessica Biel and Salma Hayek. You are worth $6 million. Jessica Biel is worth 3 times that, at $18 million. And Salma Hayek is worth $85 million. Jessica Biel could buy a mansion with what she made off of the Adam Sandler movie. And Salma Hayek could buy 3 medium-sized mansions, a small yacht, and a gold Bugatti with her money, and still have a boatload left over. Yeah, I'm sure they just cry themselves to sleep at night over their collaboration with one of the most successful film comedians in the last 30 years. I'm sure they just say to their husbands, "Why didn't I just collaborate with that Amy Schumer instead?" And then they laugh and say, "April Fools." You know what? I think you've just got a sore bum because he didn't ask you to be in a movie with him too. And who could blame him? What happened to you, Rose? You used to be so full of life. Now you act like some crazy old bat complaining to her husband about not leaving the toilet seat up. Except her husband is a rubbish bin, and she's been living in the streets of Los Angeles for 2 years, eating rats and hallucinating. In all seriousness though, Rose, your behavior makes me sad. I loved Charmed dearly. I owned the whole 8-season box set. And I used to defend the series viciously from the wankers at school who said it was too girly. It's not too girly. And I still love the show despite what you've become. That's why it pains me to mock you like this. But I have a job to do and an audience to entertain, so I'll carry on. I just wanted you to know how sad this makes me.
But the message they send out is, you deserve this. And that directly, with all those young boys watching, leads to the idea of, I deserve that hot woman. No, you actually deserve a complex woman, but only if you two can match that. During World War II, each studio had served their rank. They served in the military. Their rank was ministers of propaganda. And they came to them after the war and they said, holy crap, women are out of the kitchen. Wow, get back in. And that's when we started seeing Doris Day, like overdrive, vacuuming, everything. It is, once we put video with sound, images with sound, really have taken a fast, if you notice how fast the destruction of the world has gone, I know I'm tying things together, people are like, oh, it can't be responsible for all of that. Actually, it can. It really, really can.
Oh, I'm coming. I'm done here. I fulfilled my purpose. I ain't need to see no more shit down here.
You don't get to tell young boys what's best for them unless they're your sons. And even then, you shouldn't tell young boys what to think. You should tell young boys and young girls that they can achieve anything if they put in the work and stay determined. Real talk. Out of character for a moment. I'm a huge nerd. You want to know who my hero is? Superman. Not because he's strong or macho or can flatten Steve Shives like a pancake. I love Superman because he cares about every person on the planet Earth. He flew Doomsday up into space despite being at near death because he'd rather give up his own life than let a single person be killed. In Red Sun, despite having grown up in Soviet Russia, all it took was one voice to have him rushing to the aid of an American. Even though Russia and America were mortal enemies, he still rushed to help. He stopped the suicide attempt not with force, but by spending a day just listening to the young woman and telling her, you're much stronger than you think you are. But as much as I love Superman, I love his cousin Kara just as much. Not because she's physically beautiful, although she is the most attractive female superhero in my humble opinion. I love her for the same reason that I love Clark. Because they're more than just a chiseled jaw or a pretty face. They're more than just power and strength. They stand for something. My favorite Supergirl moment is in the comic Should Old Acquaintance Be Forgot? Boston Brand, aka Deadman, tries to experience Christmas by possessing the bodies of others. When he realizes he's stealing Christmas like the Grinch, he goes off and sulks because he thinks he deserves something in return for helping people. Kara, having previously been erased from existence and forgotten by everybody, approaches Brand and gives him a message that I memorized when I was just 10 years old. And I still hold dear today. The words she said were, we don't do it for the glory. We don't do it for the recognition. We do it because it needs to be done. Because if we don't, no one else will. And we do it even if no one knows what we've done. Even if no one knows we exist. Even if no one remembers we ever existed. There was a 10-year-old lad once. He felt very alone. His mom, his dad, and his sister didn't understand him. Because his brain didn't work the way theirs did. But his two heroes, Superman and Supergirl, gave him the strength to carry on. The strength to make something of himself. And he did. And he is happy.
There's that 2-year-old on Facebook, that video that went around, he's punching along with Rocky. 2. And everyone's like, isn't that cute? No, little Timmy there has just been stolen. You've just stolen what he is. And when you're talking about also, you're telling him what a man is, especially telling him what a white man is, and especially you're telling him how to feel. Why are sports so popular in a stupid country in general? Why? Because here, that's how men are the only time traditionally they're allowed to have an expression of energy or a release of energy. Unfortunately, it's in anger and aggression. But it's a real Western societal interest, a real...
What you said is patently false. Sorry, Rose, but the kid gloves have been removed. It's go time. It has been proven, time and time again, that entertainment does not influence behavior. That barmy American lawyer, Jack Thompson, started his crusade in 1997 and hasn't shut up since, despite the fact that his claims have been definitively debunked every single time. And for the past few years, Anita Sarkeesian has been doing it too. No evidence to support the link between violent video games and behavior, says Science Daily. I can state that there is no evidence to support these claims that violent media and real-world violence are connected, says Christopher J. Ferguson, a professor of psychology at Stetson University. A study from molecular psychiatry found no relative side effects in response to violent video game play. When we worry that a violent game is going to turn our kids into killers, aren't we the ones who can't tell fantasy from reality? Kids already know the difference, writes Greg Topo for Scientific American. A study for Nature.com finds strong evidence against the frequently debated negative effects of playing violent video games. Do I need to go on? No? Then let me ask you something. If violent video games don't cause violence, then why in the bloody hell would you think sexualized video games cause sexism? And you are stereotyping men just like you claim we stereotype women. I hate sports. Never played one. Never watched a single game. I never played a game of catch with my mates. I don't have a favorite football team. I've never been to Wimbledon, and I've never watched the Olympics even once. Sports are completely uninteresting to me. You know what I do give an expression of energy for? You know what does make me feel those big bad emotions that you claim men are not allowed to feel? A book. A simple, ordinary, everyday book. I get more enjoyment out of reading one chapter than I would from a year's worth of football. You see, girlie, you think you got us men all figured out, but there's one thing you didn't account for. Men have a diversity of interests. It's a funny thing, really. You accuse us of being sexist and embracing outdated stereotypes, but that's exactly what you're doing to us. You could argue your points all day, and you still wouldn't be any closer to refuting any of mine. Not that it wouldn't be fun, but I have good news. There's no need to wonder where your God is, 'cause he's right here. And he's fresh out of mercy.
And I think when you come from a land with more time behind it, right? America keeps going, we're so young. No, we're not. White people are young to it, you dummies. America's not young, you just renamed it. You know what they did in the 20s? I thought this was the height of American hubris. They gave Native Americans citizenship. They gave Indians citizenship and called them Native, you know what I mean? Like, that's the mentality we're dealing with, and they fight it on every level. They fight, I don't want the Redskins logo off this. Shut up. Shut up. Wah, your sports team is sad now.
My response to that is to quote Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. You won, all right? You came in, and you killed them, and you took their land. That's what conquering nations do. It's what Caesar did, and he's not going around saying, I came, I saw, I felt really bad about it. And what good does it do to whine about it now? Your ancestors exterminated the lot of them and imprisoned the remainder on reservations. What could you possibly say that could make it up to them? What could you possibly do to balance the scales besides inflicting the same misery on their oppressors? And before you say, hey, let's go kill Whitey, let me remind you of the most important quote that Martin Luther King ever said. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and modern liberals in general seem to have forgotten that. All I see from you people is a bunch of ideologues who are more concerned with pushing an agenda than actually helping those in need. That's why there wasn't a peep from you about the woman who broke into her ex-boyfriend's house and raped him while holding a machete to his goddamn throat. If that had happened to a woman, you'd be in the streets of Montana shouting off with his head. But since the victim is a man, you don't care. It doesn't fit your narrative, so you don't care. Morality doesn't matter to you, and neither does justice. If those things mattered to you, you'd be just as angry about rape, regardless of the gender of the rapist. No. Only your agenda matters to you. And the men who fought and died so you could write pithy articles about how much you hate men for The Guardian, The Independent, Salon, HuffPo, or whatever garbage liberal publication you want, those men are spinning in their graves. Your hatred of those different than you defiles their memory. Your perpetual social holy war desecrates their graves. So what if you succeed in eradicating all opposing thought? There are those who will fight and die for the right to speak freely. And you'd be quite happy to execute them to preserve your vision of utopia. A new world created on fresh blood. And you are no better than its instigators. You disgust me. You make me want to throw up. But you have the right to say what you want, and that's what makes your country truly great.
You know, the traditional shaming thing, what have we done, like, since Hester Prynne? Come on, and like, since, you know, I don't know, someone called Mary in the Bible. They did the same thing to me that they did to Mary. Every interview was what a man, so I understood the detail, the funneling, and the system of how we sell ideas to people. But you have to understand, it's not just the media, it was like how my family treated me based on coverage, because they're wrestling with, they kind of know me, but they think they know me more from what they see in the media because that's what they see. Same with any man or woman that I've ever been with, anything, friends, it affected everything. It was, but the prison wasn't mine. You know, that's the whole thing. Unless you're actually behind bars, those bars aren't there, but we think they are. I was on Stephen Colbert last night, and he said, we were talking about, I was wearing a hoodie, and he said, oh, I wish I could wear that, I have to wear the suit. Because I was saying I hate suits. I feel like whenever I wear them, and I was thinking maybe men are cranky because of this, because you're like a T-Rex, your hands are like, you can't move. It's not fun, right? It's uncomfortable, and men don't like to be uncomfortable. They don't like itchy things, understandably. So that suit paradigm is stupid. And I said, well, what would happen to you if you didn't wear a suit? And he's like, I have to wear a suit just for as long as that. I'm like, but why? And he actually said, at the end, we were talking about it after, you know, when the camera cut, and he's like, yeah, like kind of wonder, yeah, why do I have to wear a suit? Who says? Who made that rule? Who cares? They also made the rule that it was indiscriminate and okay to rape and sexually assault in Hollywood. It's also time to stop that. End the world. That's all. Run-on sentence?
We're going to end on something I agree with you on. I agree. Suits are dumb. That's why I don't own a single one. I'm a jeans and t-shirts kind of bloke. I own 6 pairs of skinny jeans, 4 pairs of regular jeans, 5 jackets, 4 pairs of spiked wristbands, a Superman necklace, a pair of boots, a pair of sneakers, and a fuckload of t-shirts. And I mean a fuckload. People say women have a problem with shoes, but their shoe addiction pales in comparison to my t-shirt addiction. It's so bad that I'm selling 42 of them, and I still have around 40 that I'm keeping. It's a problem, a serious problem. But yeah, I don't know who made the rule about suits for men. Probably some stuffy old codger who wears a top hat, a monocle, uses a cane, and eats a lot of... Oh my God! I've deciphered the conspiracy. The creator of the suit rule is Mr. Peanut. Jokes aside, I think men and women should be able to choose their own work attire within reason. Obviously no thongs, crop tops, or fishnets for anybody, no going topless or bottomless, and no clothes that make a political or religious statement. But other than that, I think you should be able to wear whatever you want. Want to wear a shirt with swear words on it? Go ahead. Want to cover your body in tattoos and piercings? Fine by me. Want to dress goth, emo, punk, ghetto, scene, or any other subculture? Go for it. In my book, you should be able to wear whatever you want at the time of your choosing. Needless to say, I don't get invited to many weddings, but I'm me, and I'm okay with that. Oh, and nobody thinks it's okay to assault and rape in Hollywood except the rapists. Let me tell you why there are more rapists in the entertainment industry than anywhere else. It all goes back to Lord Acton, a 19th century member of Parliament. He wrote the following assertion in a letter to an Anglican bishop. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Great men are almost always bad men. Let's explore why. Despite what Willy Wonka may have said, the man who got everything he ever wanted did not live happily ever after. He lived in misery, forever wanting more and more and more. That's because instant gratification is harmful to the brain. When you do something you enjoy or get something you want, your brain releases dopamine. Dopamine is an organic chemical that functions as a neurotransmitter in the brain. One of the brain's pathways for dopamine plays a huge role in reward-motivated behavior. When you're addicted to drugs, your dopamine levels increase, giving you a high. And when that high disappears, you crash. The same is true for the acquisition of wealth, material positions, fame, or political power. When you spoil a child, you train his or her brain to expect to be spoiled. And when they go out into the real world, they throw tantrums like those of Trigglypuff because they aren't being handed every goddamn thing they want on a silver platter. And they blame everyone but themselves because they never learned discipline and accountability. Why do you think the vast majority of these child stars crash and burn after they become adults? It's not only because they were spoiled, they were also handed fame, money, and material things at a very young age. That's bad for a child. The mind of a child is still developing. Giving it a consistent dopamine high trains the child's brain to crave more and more dopamine. And when they can't get it through their usual means, they turn to drugs, alcohol, or sex to get their fix. That's why so many famous people are on drugs, have drinking problems, and have trouble maintaining relationships. And that's why a decent number of them commit sex crimes, because they're already on drugs. Actually, just one drug. They've been on it for years, decades, and sometimes their whole lives. What is that drug? Dopamine. The persistent dopamine highs have created an addiction to the chemical. They want more and more and more, and just like with the other drugs, you have to seek more and more and more and more, and each time you have to do something a bit more extreme to get your fix. And the extremes keep growing and growing until one day you wake up and you're Kevin Spacey. Some people see this pattern and try to curb their impulses by seeking therapy. Others are swallowed whole by their own desires. The latter are the ones you see in the news. I think you know which direction you're heading, Rose. I certainly do. The signs are all there. Now we just wait for the crash. To my dear viewers, I have 8 rules for life. If you follow them, you may just become a better person. I don't know. I'm not an oracle. They work as a set. You can't just pick and choose. Sorry, them's the breaks. Number 1, own your problems and don't let them own you. Responsibility is key to living a healthy life. Number 2, be careful that ideology does not become more important than truth. Thinking clearly is thinking logically, and logic is the foundation of a good argument. Number 3, work hard for what you want. Don't let other people hand it to you. I promise you, something you worked your ass off for will always be more valuable to you than something you got for free. Number 4, success is not an overnight thing. It takes hard work and dedication. So try to do at least one thing every day that'll make you a better person. Read to children at your local library. Help your dad with the yard. Or just clean one room of your house. Keep doing ordinary things every day, and you'll be surprised at how much progress you make. Number 5, procrastination should be avoided. Don't wait until you're ready to do something. If you do, you might find out that the opportunity has come and gone. Number 6, try to eat healthy. Eat healthy foods at least some of the time, and try to exercise. The next time you want a bag of crisps, try having a basket of strawberries instead. And the easiest way to cut calories is to drop any drinks with more than 10 calories. For exercise, start with cardio. Go for a walk in the woods and increase the distance every 2 weeks. Then do floor exercises once you've built up enough stamina. Number 7, treat others as they treat you. The golden rule is fine in principle, but in reality it only makes you a doormat. Have some self-respect and call others out on their shit. If you just let them do whatever they want to you, then that's exactly what they'll do. Be brave and show them you mean business. And finally, number 8. Hate is like a poison. It can take you over. And before you know it, it can turn you into something ugly. Like Rose here. Don't hate those you disagree with. They aren't worth the effort it takes to hate. And some of them hate themselves enough already on the inside. Like Rose here. Well, that's a wrap. I'm the deputy of common sense, and I dispense swift justice to those who aren't so swift, by sinking my teeth into their stupidity. Now bon nuit to you all.
Life is fleeting. And if you're ever distressed, cast your eyes to the summer sky, when the stars are strung across the velvety night, and when a shooting star streaks through the blackness, turning night into day. Make a wish. Think of me. And make your life spectacular. I know I did.